If you want to experience pure consciousness, you need to understand that you need to disappear. And by that I mean your ego. And that's very difficult. And this kind of thing is related to our ability to formulate and label things. And first of all, you have to understand that our identity, which is a product of our logic, is pure only when you manage to get rid of all your conditionings and what you usually know. And that's extremely difficult. And so, if you want to do it, you need to avoid language, because it's a trap. And the more you talk about it, the more you assign meaning to it, and your mind starts racing, and therefore you get away from that pure source that's supposed to be at the source of the whole universe, and through which everything manifests, including us, who are one of the conditions for its existence. And you also need to take into account that if you want to discuss it, you need to use, if there is no way around it, the poetic language. And that's not easy to achieve for a lot of people, because you don't have to look at the verbal signs as pointers to a meaning, but as a sort of self-effacement. And that's contradictory to what we are used to do and to what society and our culture teaches us. But the first way towards it is to be aware of your thoughts and try to acknowledge them whenever they arise, without identifying with them. In some way you need to take a step back, and it's similar to the ego death, of which I talked previously. And when you're doing that, you need to be conscious of that sort of intuitive, emotional presence that's not identifiable with your thoughts, because our mind works in a lot of instances as a mechanism, and most of the ideas that we think we are producing are just a result of something, and we are just the witnesses of our brain's activity. I'm sure you've done this. You've noticed that you just walk, and all of a sudden something comes to you, like a lightning strike, so to speak, something unexpected. And we like to believe that we are the authors of this cognitive predicament or cognitive instance. That's better. But we are merely some judge, and that's difficult to be aware of. However, there are thoughts that are not so obviously a result of our past experience, and we need to pay more attention to those. The ultimate step will be that you just have to acknowledge everything and be constantly observing and letting go of everything, even of stopping your mind. And I know that sounds like a paradox, but that's it. Because you also need to let go of a desire to get rid of the thoughts, which fortifies the prison of your mind, so to speak. The very effort can stay in your way. On the other hand, you shouldn't indulge too much in thinking, in the sense that you need to understand that you don't need to think, and if that happens, it's okay, but you shouldn't try to perpetrate it either. In this regard, think of it like the analogy of an athlete who walks on a tightrope, and on one hand is the desire to stop your mind, and on the other hand is your intention to think. So you kind of need to be in the middle, and it's difficult to do it. But whilst you are acknowledging it, it's very crucial not to be too hard on yourself, even when you fail, because even the metaphor of the acrobat trying to perform such a difficult exercise is a consequence of your mind tricking you, and me too. And that's not pure consciousness if we think of it rationally. But on the other hand, if you make a step back now and then, and that occurs usually as a consequence of a shock, because you need tension to realize some deep truths, then you can experience it. And as a matter of business, we are always pure consciousness, meaning that our link to that primordial, undescribable, mysterious source is still active, always, regardless of the fact that you call it universe or God or I don't know, the essence of things or the other dimension or the vibrational field. It's there, and you just need to relax ultimately and acknowledge that you are fallible, and most of the times you won't make it, and your true nature, which is a little bit of both, will always maintain its course, and you are never going to be enlightened, and and your life course will change dramatically and drastically, and you'll begin like a new page in your life. We're always going to have or to experience reminiscence from our past. So if you want to kind of delve into what pure consciousness is, you should forget about the fact that it's called consciousness, and that it may be in this way or the other. And you should also not take too seriously what I said, because I just try to merely give you some pointers to something that doesn't exist in the material, three-dimensional world, and which is ungraspable for our knowledge. So it's very contradictory to have discussions about that. However, the fact that we are interested in it and kind of seem to fathom it in an intuitive manner means that there is something in that, and it's difficult to say what it is. It's also not easy to describe it just as an opposite to logic, as pure emotion, because we don't know. Perhaps at the root of our cognitive abilities, we only have one main function, so to speak, from which our emotions and logic derive. And a proof to that is the innumerable instances when we are kind of acknowledging or understanding something on an emotional level, and it seems like it's not rational, but if you trust it and if you think of it after the fact, you realize that you made the most important decision, the most sensible decision. And it seems like, or at least to me, that everything has some logic to it, even our emotions. If we try to explain them, we can find the profound source to them, and they have become like impulses. But at the beginning, who knows, maybe they were a result of our ability to make sense of things and to survive, because ultimately that's our main goal in this world that's full of illusions, so to speak, in a Buddhist manner. And you know, it's this is our main goal. Although after that we might think that being free of pain might also constitute one of our life goals. But, pain is a reminder that something is wrong, so we must avoid it. So being free of pain also means survival, because we suffer when something hinders our ability to live. And pain is a survival mechanism after all. So I could go on about this for a long time, because everything is related in this life, so you can find connections. But I think I'll conclude this regarding pure consciousness, and I will stress out again, don't take it too seriously, because ultimately we are just repeating some thinking loops that have been passed to us via multiple generations of humans who had to strive for their life at the beginning. So it's difficult to get rid of these things. And ultimately, one can say that you can't experience pure consciousness, because if you say experience, that means that there is an I, the ones who is purportedly the initiator of our thoughts, and that's not us, even though we might think that we are. So strictly speaking, you can't experience pure consciousness, and you can only be directed to it. But when you do it, your identity just dissolves, and that's extremely rare, unless you are a Christ or a Buddha. And we have all the potential to be the ones, such figures, but life is not easy. So I'll leave you to that now.